months of back and forth saying, hey, can we get our URL fixed? What's going on here? Is there a reason it's down? And never getting a straight answer. Not once.
Really,
Always
they just a runaround.
being slow rolled over and over and over again. This is a theme with them now, with Pinnacle as a whole. They things have changed.
Hello, welcome in. It's Behind the Lines, purifying sports betting, winning with SX. I'm Shane. Pace is here, and on today's show, bad book stories. And maybe we'll have a few good ones. Who knows? We'll see what happens there. We'll hit the gridiron grind as well. Gosu will join us at the end of the show for that, so stay tuned. But first, Pace, just before we started recording here, you said you had an amazing Sunday betting football. Tell us a little bit about it.
Oh, geez. Yeah, it was just one of those days where it's funny how results in betting can dictate, how you feel, because it really should be based on the bet, not the outcome. But as humans, I think naturally we always are gonna feel a lot better if the outcome was favorable than if it wasn't. Yeah, I'd say I had a really good day, and then just Sunday Night Football was amazing. Really good first quarter, really good third quarter. Able to get like multiple bets and good opportunities in those, and that carried through towards some really great end of game opportunities. We got some unders in on that game, but yeah, it was a great day. There's some really crazy opportunities late in that Carolina game. I think a lot of people were sweating Survivor because Cardinals were like the number one pick of the week, and I think they were up like, geez, I think it was like 27-3 or 28.
I saw a big score differential at one point. Yeah, in that game.
We ended up on their money line, which lost, but we also had their plus, and we had an over, and we had a bunch of their player props, and like they just kept getting the ball back. It was one of these games where the Cardinals were like, "Okay, we've won, run, punt," and they got the onside kick too. So like they just kept getting more chances, and they seemed to just continue to score on those drives. It's crazy though, because that game's a really good example of what you see in football in general.
Yep.
I think that for public bettors, something that they do when they do use their eyes. So sometimes I say with live betting, just turn the game on and use your eyes, and almost like trust what you're seeing. Well, the difference with doing that and trusting what you're seeing is games like that, and you see it in basketball, you see it in football, you probably see it in sports across the board. Hockey might be one of the only sports where I don't necessarily think the statement to be true, but just the way you play when you have a lead. The Cardinals sitting there, up big and just on total cruise control, thinking like, hey, if we just run this clock out, they can't win. And if they didn't recover an onside kick, that would have been true. But you just keep giving the opponent opportunities. You don't want to get hurt. You're not playing the same level of defense. And then as soon as the game was on the line, we saw how they can actually play on defense. The only reason Carolina got any first downs were all from flags. And Bryce Young couldn't complete a pass against now the defense playing its heart out again if his life depended on it. So obviously they put themselves in a situation that they didn't want to be put in. But there are opportunities with underdogs that are down big in some of these games to get some points. If I'm not mistaken, the game that was similar, just not in result, but in overall sort of structure of how it went, was the Bills-Jets. And the Bills were up 30-3. And Tyrod Taylor came in for Fields, and he scored a touchdown with 3:30 left. And it's similar, right? Like people think, oh, the Jets will never score in this game. The Panthers will never score in this game. And all of a sudden you can put your second strings in there, and they're against a team that just wants to go home safe, not get injured, and some junk comes in.
Yeah, we see that quite a bit where, the team gets that big lead and then just lets their foot off the gas. And, that other team that's been getting, beat up the whole game. Well, those guys, they have some pride still. These are professional athletes. They don't want to get blown out. they want to put some points on the board, even if they know they can't win the game. It sounds like the Panthers game that was one where they could have possibly actually won the game. And, we see that time and time again, especially in the NFL when teams get that big lead. And I think you probably hit it there in the sense that they want to get out of that game now. Game's won, game's in hand. Let's make sure that nobody important on our team gets hurt. And, let's get out of this game because yeah, man, every year the NFL just riddled with injuries, and we saw another big one yesterday with Joe Burrow there. Looks like he'll be done for the season. Unfortunately, it's just there's a guy who's got top level talent, huge expectations, and you just can't beat the injury bug.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm a big Burrow fan, so watching that always is unfortunate. But yeah, he can be back this season.
Yeah.
He can
I
be.
didn't actually. I didn't get to see the injury. I just saw a turf toe, but I don't know how it happened. As you can tell, I'm on the road here, not in my setup, not able to watch NFL Sunday with you guys and bet with you guys for the whole Sunday there. Was able to tune in here and there, but didn't get to watch all the action the way I normally would if I was at home at my setup. But did it look bad?
No, no. I mean, it looked bad from the standpoint of him lying there, pointing at his foot, going like, "This isn't good." But no, it didn't look bad. I mean, turf toe is something that I think a lot of times is just like that. Your toe is just super extended, and visually speaking, in the grand scheme of gruesome injuries, it was not on the list.
Ugh, that's terrible though for him to be. Basically, he's out for the rest of the season. Yeah, that's tough. All right, well, we'll talk a lot more football in a little bit when Gosu comes here to chat with us about the week ahead. But Pace, this is a topic we've been sort of wanting to get at for I think the last few weeks now. And I remember it was before Bet Bash actually. I think it was kind of when we're on our way to Bet Bash. You had been messaging me, and you were like, "Hey, I've got some book stories. I've got one particular right now that I really want to share on the podcast." And then, sure enough, we go to Vegas, we do a whole show there, we come back, we've got guests, we've got all sorts of other topics to talk about. We never kind of got to it, but very excited to dive into some of these with you today. What's sort of the first one on your list, or maybe do you remember that one that we were talking about ahead of Vegas?
Yeah, so I think the first thing is that like on this show, especially when we go back to our roots, like our first 10 episodes, we're talking about a lot of things in the industry. We're exposing the advertising, we're exposing the public facing ads, and then the behind the scenes type stuff with how sports books operate and get you as customers pre regulation and how that stuff will continue going forward. So part of my stories kind of tie in with that to a certain extent. Obviously, with being the CEO of In Play Live, there are some sports books that do kind of view us as sort of a bit of a golden ticket. Like, hey, we're going to get 400 new bettors, 500 new bettors, or he has access to these 500 bettors that follow him. But at the same time, he's got a few thousand behind that listen to him, or whatever the case may be. So we've from day one of In Play Live, we've been a bit of a target of that kind of stuff. And on the show, we've tried to expose, behind the lines, like some of the stuff that's going on, maybe at sports books, but also in the industry. So we haven't actually had too many conversations like that in a little while. And one of the interesting ones that was online this week, and I don't know if this is 100% true, but was DraftKings. A guy made a teaser in July, and then they changed their 2-pick teasers from -120 or -125 to -130 or -135. But the guy made it before the change, and then they paid him out. They paid him out at the new odds, which is just absolutely absurd. Like he placed the bet months ago before the policy or the odds change was in effect. So yeah, we do talk about that kind of stuff. But my personal journey as a bettor, obviously, I've been clipped by well over 500 sports books, and I think this season alone, I'm already 10 around the number of 10 that have bit the dust.
You're saying 10? Hold on, 10 sports books that you've been booted from, limited at since the start of week one?
Oh, easily.
Wow, crazy,
Oh,
crazy. 2
yeah.
weeks, 10 books. Goodbye.
Constant. Uh, empty the clip, get clip,
Yeah.
lock, reload, whatever. It's just, it's nonstop. Some of them, great stories of profit. Others, small amounts of profit. there's a book that my partner signed up for, and whomever was representing her entered the wrong name in the name field on the account, and I had to add $2,000 to my lifetime non-payout list, but that one was definitely my fault. Um, and it thankfully wasn't a crazy amount of money. But yeah, shit happens. But it's interesting because when football season starts, it is kind of the holy grail of the North American betting season. So it doesn't matter what your affiliation is with the industry, whether you're a book, whether you're a bettor, whether you're some sort of service associated with betting. It's kind of like go time leading up to that week one kickoff of this is the time that we can acquire customers. And we actually at In Play Live worked with a guy who was in the marketing department at FanDuel. And he said to us, you acquire your customers in football season, and then you work for the rest of the year to try and keep them.
Right.
Simply saying that nothing compares.
That makes sense. That makes a lot of sense. Just even thinking of my buddies and casuals and my friends and that kind of stuff, that's what it is, right? They bet a ton, yeah, in football season, and then as the rest of the season goes on, maybe in playoffs they're betting some hockey or some basketball or something like that. But that's kind of it.
Right. Yeah,
Yep.
exactly. So as players, we really see that this time of year. We get more promotions and bonuses. I touched on, maybe some opportunities to exploit some of those in last week's show. But yeah, we really see that uptick. It doesn't matter. Like I've had bookies reach out to me. I've had sportsbooks send me promotions, the whole 9 yards. Now, going through winning and losing, seeing some of those books limit you, seeing some of them react to how you're playing, it's really interesting. And I have a few stories. The first, and I think, geez, I don't know, like should some of this be without? Fuck it. Okay.
Fuck it, let it rip. Come on,
Yeah.
give us
So
the goods.
Bet99 have a nice account or had a nice account or whatever,
Okay.
and um, the account was down, and you get a message from a VIP host, right? I
Yep.
think that's really typical, and
Yep.
for me, that's like ultimate green light, right? Like this, you've shown yourself in a way that they think you're a priority. You might get better bonuses, you might get better limits, and that hopefully also leads to better profits. So I kind of put like Bet99 in like that typical category of what I would expect from a sports book. Um, got the most bizarre call from Bodog, which is Bovada in the States, that you will ever get as a bettor. And it was like a VIP host who was this super awkward dude who I think his responsibility was trying to humanize the sports book and become friends with the people that he speaks with. And
Okay.
we're
Cool.
talking things like, how's your day? Sure, grind through that one. It's like, let's get to the point. What are you going to bet on this season? It's like sports. And 6-7 minutes go by on the call, and it would be like, oh, just one more question. And I think he's going to get to some sort of offer of some kind. It's like, oh, just one more question. Like, do you have any dinner plans tonight? And I'm like, are you going to invite me to dinner? Like, where are you? So
Wow. Okay.
the person on the call is like, no, like, is there anything else? And he's like, oh, like just one more question. Do you see yourself with any plans in the next couple months to go traveling? And I advise the person, let's just end this call. Like, and there was no point to the call. It was a VIP host trying to humanize and make it seem like, hey, we're friends with our top clients here at Bodog.
Okay, so wait. I thought for sure when you said he's asking you about your dinner plans that then he was going to say, hey, we can offer you a free dinner at such and such restaurant in Vancouver, or like something like that. That would make sense because I've dealt with Bet99 and they did that before. But you're saying this was Bodog, right? This is Bodog
This was
person.
the first one was Bet99, just
Yeah.
an example of like your typical experience.
Right.
Bodog, yeah, was this one, and then he's like, well, if you can deposit, and this wasn't at the end of the call, this was in the middle. He goes, if you can deposit, we've got a $500 bonus for you. Blah 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 blah. Person on the call is like, oh sweet, like that sounds great, thank you. And he's like, now, is that something that you think you'd be interested in? And I'm like, yeah, a bonus is great. But also look at the account. When there's 5 figures in the account, like you don't need you don't need this bone. Like it's
This
just weird.
$500 bonus is just like, you're
But you don't
calling
need
me.
to deposit either. Like, oh, sure, I'll take the $500 bonus, but you don't need to deposit. So it's like read the room a little. It was so weird and so awkward. Now, where I get to the next discussion is really interesting, and it's
Okay.
an account that I got fucking smoked on. Smoked. So the Bet99 one was like, okay, butter it up. Okay. Smoked. Okay, so I think probably lost 2 to 3 thousand a year ago.
Okay.
Okay,
And,
typical
and
butter.
and what book is this?
Or it's Bet Victor. Okay,
Bet
we'll
Victor. Okay,
yeah,
gotcha.
it's Bet Victor. Dump, and I had a very strong August. Dump about 22,000 into it in August. Okay, and this is now like go time for me, and it's just one of these things. You can be down on a book big and still be up. You can be down on a book big where you're down, and you can be down on a book big where you're relatively even. I had a strong August, but I got smoked at Bet Victor, like absolutely smoked. Now, the account sends me through a whole series of different things. I have to fill out questionnaires about my gambling habits. I have to answer questions about tendencies and deposit tendencies and money management outside of betting. They put me through this whole responsible gambling process. And I
Huh,
was like,
okay.
holy shit. I was like, holy shit, they're not fucking around. This is real. Like, this is
Wow.
actual responsible gambling. Anyways, deposit another couple $1,000, gone. Like, instantly gone. Lost.
Right. Well, that's a bet for you.
Yeah.
A lot of times, yeah.
I go to log into the account, and a banner pops up saying we need to speak to you about your account. And I'm like, oh shit. Like, is this going to be a problem? So anyways, I have to call into this hotline that they have, that's a division of responsible gambling. And I have to have like a human conversation with this person. And this is my account. And anyways, he just asked me a bunch of questions. And one of them is, he's like, do you know how much you've bet this month? And I said, like, loss? And he's like, sure. And I'm like, I'd set it at approximately 25,000. And he goes, it's 22. And he goes, that's quite a bit of money. So I said to him, I said, well, the thing about betting that maybe you guys don't totally understand, and I've gone through a questionnaire already, is like, I'm like, number one, this is totally within my means. Like, number two, I'm going to make the assumption that you don't do this type of follow up with a $5 and $10 better. You're doing this specifically with me, which I respect, by the way. I said that to him. I said, because the amount is higher. But the difference is that if I lose 22,000, which I thought was 25, that's within my means. Whereas a lot of the $5 and $10 bettors are in debt and don't have that money to lose. And he said, oh, fair enough. So we went through a whole bunch of other questions. And he reactivated the account. But had I have not had that conversation with him, or had I have answered in a way that showed that I really do or am a person of concern, Bet Victor would have advised me, I think, to get some help and potentially not let me play on their site anymore.
Wow, they're taking responsible gambling really seriously. At
Really
least
seriously.
when it comes to somebody like you, that's put in thousands of dollars.
Yeah, and I can report that after yesterday, that account is well in the black, which is awesome.
Oh, awesome, great stuff.
Yeah, and good fun. But anyways, props to them. So I've seen some really bizarre and different, almost like different, like the spectrum of how books handle losing. And well, I do have higher limits there. And while they are still taking my action, knock on wood. Yeah, it was. I didn't like the experience, but I was impressed by the experience,
Right.
because I haven't seen anyone else do anything like that ever. And the story that I just told you about being down big at one book, that isn't uncommon. That's actually normal, and it's something that I somewhat look forward to an extent because of what can come on the other end of it.
Yeah, yeah. You often talk about when you're down at a book, sort of stashing the book and letting it sit for a while and revisiting it, in a few months or even a year later, kind of thing, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And like I said, like they're out in droves right now to get you for as much as they can right now, whether it's a bookie or an actual site or whatever. They want you to play there, they want your customers to play there, and they take the chance on, okay, this guy says he can win, bullshit. Let's see if he actually can. This group says they win, bullshit. Let's see if they can actually do it. And time and again, it comes back, and the sports book gets bit in the ass for, I guess, challenging us as a group. And I guess that leads us to the final book story that I have, which is definitely the biggest the biggest of all of them, and that is with our former sponsor, Pinnacle.
Right. I was waiting for this when we were going to get to this because we kind of talked off air a little bit about this, and I'm really kind of interested to hear more and learn more on this. And it sounds like major frustration. And you talk about the group taking on a book. It sounds like that was a big part of what happened here.
It's only speculation, right? Like I don't have them saying to me like, "Hey, this is why we're no longer affiliated with you." I have no idea, but I can speculate, right?
Yeah.
I'm allowed to do that. And like to just rewind the tape, Pinnacle approached us at Bet Bash, not this year, but the year before, so 2024.
Right.
But basically, hey, we know who you guys are. We watched the podcast, and we think that you'd be a good match for sponsorship with us. And I was like, holy shit! Like I thought that was so cool. Number one, because being recognized, Shane, our hard work, and someone wanting to sponsor the show, I thought was extremely cool and
That's very cool. Yeah, that's awesome.
all that kind of stuff. Yeah, that was the first side of it. The second side of it was I was like, these guys are in line with what we preach in the industry. Yeah, they're sharp. Yeah, they're hard to beat.
Yep.
But they let winning players play,
Yeah,
and
you
they
never get
they,
limited. They show you
they
your max bet. They show you the max bet on the market before you bet it. You can get a
yeah.
sense of what the market is, what they're willing to take, what they aren't. All that very transparent.
Not to mention, and we've touched on this, like again, sounds like an ad for them. The betting tools that they have, like they talk about middling, they talk about arbitrage. They have arbitrage calculators. We had Jesse Learmonth on, who actually built those tools.
Yeah, yeah.
He's not with Pinnacle today, but it sounds like that was very much who they were in the industry. And of course, we had Paris on, and such an amazing show with her. And then we got to reconnect with her at Bet Bash this year, and she's not with Pinnacle anymore, but there's some interesting conversations with her relating to this story and with other people, that had been affiliated or know people there. And I guess this is a theme with them now, with Pinnacle as a whole. They things have changed. And from my time of saying, hey, we want to sponsor the show to now, the experience has been very interesting. So the person that approached us was let go like 2 weeks later. However, our deal was done at that point.
Right. Okay.
His boss, we had also met with, he left the day after. So our two points of contact at Pinnacle were now gone, and we had no idea what was going on anymore. At that stage, we had already recorded our first episode that we had said, powered by Pinnacle or sponsored by Pinnacle, and it just left us in a bit of a strange situation where we're like, are we sponsored by Pinnacle? Who are our contacts? So eventually we got in touch with a couple of guys that are on the team and had some great meetings with them. And all of a sudden on those meetings, it wasn't about our sponsorship anymore. The first feeling that I got immediately was, are we, are we sponsored by Pinnacle? Because
Wow, it was like that, eh?
that was very much the case. And I think he had mentioned on the call something along the lines of, we've got, 5 or 6 of these right now. We're only going to be choosing one of them. I was like, oh
Right.
shit. So we were approached, and I'm sitting there in a call where I feel like now I have to sell them on what we had already agreed upon and what we had started. Anyways, no clue if that 5 or 6 to 1 was actually the case, but they went forward with us, which was awesome. And again, like I was pretty proud of that. I was proud of you and me, Shane, in particular, for putting out content that a sports book like Pinnacle would be like, hey, we want to be affiliated with you guys. But a part of our sponsorship deal was the Masterclass that I made for Pinnacle.
Right.
Which
Yeah.
every
Would
single Pinnacle user got emailed about saying like, "Hey, watch this. It's about how to win live betting, etc." And
Yeah, I got that email like to my personal email, but then also my Pinnacle like little message email. So they really pumped those out. Like it was sort of, yeah, you couldn't avoid it.
yeah, yeah, and we had a time frame on our deal, and after that time frame had expired, they didn't renew. But Shane, we didn't really say much, and we were like, you know what? They said that they were open to doing something again in the future, and what we would do, and we were just happy to just kind of keep saying "powered by Pinnacle," and they were retweeting, our Plus EV report that we put out each week of
Right.
how
Yeah.
the results were. They were retweeting that every single week after our contract time had expired. Obviously, the videos were up and they were being released. And yeah, all of a sudden, out of nowhere, the retweets stopped. The videos were all taken down. They're not there anymore. And we didn't know why. Around the same time, we're getting all these people telling us that Pinnacle had been voiding their bets. Soccer corner overs were being voided.
Yeah.
Some other were being voided. I don't know if you experienced any of
I
that, Shane.
did. I did get it, specifically the corners. And I didn't know any. Like it happened to the first time I was like, okay, when I took that wager, another site was saying the corner total was one thing, their site was saying it was something else, and then I have like a service, like an actual data service that I'm looking at, and I'm like, okay, it looks like maybe Pinnacle's off on this one, and got the first one voided. All right, I was like, I can kind of see why they might have done it. But then I had like two more voided, and I was like, "What the fuck is going on here? Like, why am I?" And it's frustrating because Pinnacle is one of those sites where this is a market where I want to bet it at a sharp book. I don't necessarily want to go and bet it at a soft book. We're talking about like Peruvian Division Two soccer. You know what I mean? Like, it's like I don't necessarily want to bet it at a soft book where my account might get looked at a little more closely. Whereas I know I can go bet this at Pinnacle. I don't have to sweat the side of potentially winning a bet like this. But then yeah, they start getting voided. I was like, what the fuck, man? Like, anyway, it was frustrating.
Yeah. So, a lot of stories like that, and then verification hoops. Customers were reporting verification hoops that they had to jump through on fully verified accounts. Um,
Really?
and saying things like your verification has expired. And just sitting there on the other end of this, hearing these stories and going like, what is going on here? Like this is some crypto book type shit. And it's funny because I didn't realize the timing of it all, but it was all in tandem. The voids, and not just corner voids, reports of other things too. And I'm sure that there's some people that listen that go, oh, right away, they're like, oh yeah, they voted this, they voted that.
Yeah.
So there's voids, verifications, and all this stuff has come down at the same time. Well, I find out that collectively, in the time frame of our sponsorship, we've beaten them for, I don't know, as a group. Uh, I again, I'm speculating 200 to 350,000 ish
As a
around
group.
as a group,
As a group. Okay, so
right?
so we kind of so we sort of collectively as a group, and they know who we are, because you had the sign up link, right, that people could have clicked on to sign up if they weren't already part of Pinnacle, and then of course maybe they were able to kind of tell for those of us who had already had a Pinnacle account.
Also, too, like no notice of this at all. Of like, hey guys, this is what's going on. This is what we're doing. Um, you know what I mean? Like they haven't said, we're taking this down and why. But look at the
Right.
URL,
Yeah.
pinnacle.com/in-play live. Look
Right.
at this,
Where we were constantly telling people to go sign up.
right?
Yeah.
It's right, and you could be like, "Hey, Pace, you're an idiot. You should have known this was going to happen. It happened to you before." But I'll be honest with you guys. Doing that masterclass and being published by them at the time was more important to me than any other publishing that I had previously had, because I felt like, as a winning sports bettor, working with the sharpest book in the world, not to make them better, but to be in a position where they go, hey, we are open to winners. We want sharp bettors. and here's the guy that we're going to have teach you about live betting. That was a tremendous honor.
Yeah, yeah, I can imagine you would have been very proud of that, and excited to participate and be involved in that way.
Yeah, and again, I'm speculating, but just say a message. Hey guys, this isn't working out because you guys do know what you're doing, and we've got to make some changes,
Yeah,
right? But like just going to our URL and seeing that it's broken,
it was
it's
such a
like
nice page too. It looked
months, Shane,
great and beautiful, and
months of back and forth saying, "Hey, can we get our URL fixed? What's going on here? Is there a reason it's down?" And never getting a straight answer, not once.
really,
Always
they just like a runaround.
being slow rolled over and over and over again. Then I got an automated message about 3 weeks ago, basically saying like our link and everything, we are being shut down as partners of Pinnacle in any capacity unless we can get 5 new users that make 5 new deposits each month, not this month, each month. And if anyone knows anything about the betting industry, finding 5 new people to deposit into your sports book every month is near impossible unless you are a DraftKings type sports book,
Right.
offering some sort of bonus. Like, what incentive do you have as a bettor to go play at Pinnacle if you have all the other sports books,
Right,
right?
especially too if you're a sports bettor that is even I would call it like early to mid journey in terms of trying to become a sharper sports bettor. Chances are you're going to be intimidated by a book like Pinnacle when we're here telling you it's the sharpest book in the world. Like if you can choose to play at a soft book and you haven't cooked a whole bunch of soft books yet, you're probably
Yeah.
not going to go and say, "Let me go take on Pinnacle."
Yeah. Anyways, and something I didn't mention, but in our early meetings when we were getting this started, I did the spiel. I'm like, this is what happened with us when we worked with these other 3 books and why they're no longer in existence. We didn't even officially work with UBet, or I don't know if you ever remember me speaking about UBet,
Yeah,
Shane.
yeah, I think I do.
But like the real quick backstory with them is I found them. I played on their site. They saw my play, and I had told this on the podcast, and they contacted me. And I guess they, at some point, saw that I was up a bunch of money and just maybe did a Google search or something like that because they had so few players and said, "Oh, let's reach out to this guy to see if he can get us on the book." And from day one, I said, "Guys, like, we are not the people that you want in your sports book." And they're like, "We're coming to Vancouver. We want to meet your guys. We're throwing you a party."
That's right. They threw the party for you that you met with like one of their marketing people, and yeah, yeah,
No,
I
the
remember.
CEO, their CEO. I'm actually
Right, right.
friends with him to this day. He's a great guy. He's fired in the sports book as well. He's a great guy. Like, he's a fucking awesome, awesome guy. And the thing is they were just so like, get the players on the site, we'll take care of the rest. And yeah, I mean, I mentioned them on stream a ton as I was betting their lines, but I wasn't like paid to do that thing. It's the
Right,
same as me saying I'm taking this at Bet99 or any of the other sites that I say, right?
right.
Um, but yeah, it was another experience where a book kind of, nudged shoulders with us to an extent or tried to, and it didn't work out well for them. And I'm not saying we're responsible for taking them down. They advertised heavily on BetStamp, heavily. And that's like an arena known for sharp players, right? So they did this whole no vig thing on Sunday mornings, where if you bet the NFL on Sunday morning through their site, all of their lines had no vig. They're 2.0 on both sides.
Oh wow,
Yeah.
that's pretty awesome.
They got, they got fucking
Of
crushed,
course they
right?
did.
Right. Yeah. So I think like last I checked, I mean, did the sportsbook be back? I don't know. But if you go to their site right now, I'm just going to check right now. Yeah, it's just an online casino.
Okay,
Um,
they got rid of the sports betting, which a lot of these books tend to go that path.
yeah, I don't. I don't know. I don't know. The idea is bring them in through sports, get them into the casino, right? Like we've
Yeah,
heard that sort of mirrored throughout the industry. But yeah, anyways, hugely disappointing at the end of the day with Pinnacle, and they said all they cared about was volume. They didn't care if people win because they said it'll help them mold their lines and all the things that they say, and that all that matters is volume. That's it. So they want players on their site, and they want players playing on their site. Yeah, and it totally went the other way, and it sucks. Yeah, it sucks, and I would so much as to say, yeah, it sucks. I'll leave it.
Wow, that's crazy that they didn't really communicate anything though about what they were going to do or planning to do. How did you find out that as a group and as a community that we had been beating them?
Yeah, so like if you have any sort of system for tracking your players, like I can't see anyone's account, I can't see uh, um, anything about any player, but you
Okay,
can see stats on like not how much we've won or lost. We can't see that, but there's like revenue share is a thing in the industry,
right.
where if a player's losses are associated with your commission. Our deal with Pinnacle was separately of revenue share, but we could see what it was like. Same thing with Bet99. We saw like the guy said he's like, we'll only pay you on the customers that lose. And I was like, I don't really want to profit off three losses. And then it was like day 5, and it was like you could see the report, and it was like negative 100 and some major 6-figure number. And that wasn't what we were up. It was the percentage of right. So you can see that kind of stuff. Like there's dashboards that show like it won't show who created an account, but it'll show you have a new account created
Okay,
because you need to be able to track all that stuff through what comes through your link.
right.
And
Okay.
while our deal wasn't about that, we still had access to the information. And yeah,
That's unbelievable. Yeah, well, I can sort of see how you start to kind of add it all up, right? Yeah, they pull down the videos that they commissioned you to make. They're not responding to the emails. And then eventually you get that bogus email just basically saying, yeah, we're done here. And then of course you go and you look at that data that you can gather. It's kind of easy to sort of put it all together and paint a picture of what happened here.
yeah, I think so. And I think that we weren't paying attention to any of it. So we almost didn't know it was happening because it's really just not a total focus of ours.
Right. Yeah.
Shane,
Well, you're focused on betting. You have the streams. You're up. You're doing all that stuff. Like this is kind of secondary for the business, I think. Right.
but if you're like OddsShark or Covers.com or whatever, that we've talked about that in our affiliate deal type discussions. And the affiliate deals that you get as like an influencer or a betting company that gets huge traffic and things like that, it's your livelihood, it's your lifeblood. For us, it was nothing other than the honor of the situation. It truly was nothing. I've said the amount to you, Shane, offline. But part of it was this 3 to 6 month thing. I think it might have been 6 months where they said we're going to do it again in 3 more months,
Right.
and then we'll do another set of videos. So during those 3 months, we're like, oh yeah, we'll keep. We didn't check anything. We didn't look at anything. We didn't care. We didn't care.
Yeah. We're just
So
happy to be
once we did
participating and
all,
doing it. Yeah.
and the other thing too is when you're affiliated with them, and then you start getting messages of voids, you put your backup. Like that can't be right.
Yeah.
And then if they voided a broken line, you're like, okay, let's let guys. And like, it was a bad, like I've said this from day one, Shane. I don't, I think sportsbooks should pay them out, but I don't think that's what we should care about as players. And I am totally fine with a sportsbook that voids my bet for the right reasons. Totally fine. Because usually when I went to go take it, I knew it in the first place. And I'm like, you know what? I just don't even take them anymore. Cause I'm like, what's the point? So but you put your back up a little bit and then you hear the story and you're like, well, wait, they shouldn't have avoided that. And then it's like, this account's fully verified and they want more verification from someone. And they're like, what, is this normal at Pinnacle for them to do this? And I'm like, no, it's not. And yeah, it's a lot of questions about that kind of stuff. And then text Raj, he's like, oh, they're not retweeting our EV report anymore. And then we go to our link that we've been talking about. We don't even know that it's down. And we're like, well, our link's down. Then we contact them, not about any of the other stuff. Like, hey guys, our link's broken. Like how can we get it back up? Right?
And silence or
No,
no
no,
real
they
response.
respond. Oh, working on it, no problem. Yeah.
And then and nothing. Yeah, that's frustrating. That's annoying. I really hope that this isn't the direction that Pinnacle is choosing to go in, or that the leadership there is choosing
With
to.
respect to the 5 deposits and all that, like they have made it very clear. Like that's yeah. That's
and I get that side of it. That's that they're done with us. That's not going to happen and come back. But I really hope like the bigger picture here of adopting some of these practices that we see from some of the soft books. Like the idea of voiding wagers. That maybe shouldn't be voided, or looking for reasons to void them when you might have paid it out in the past. Even that requirement to have 5 new customers and depositing 5 times a month, or 5 new deposits each month. It's like I'm
It's
wondering
not
if perhaps they're
for the
struggling.
previous. Yeah, I don't think they're struggling at all. But I think it's bad faith for the what you've set up already. And I think about that, and I'm like, if they're doing that with everyone, the people who have deals with them that are significant now are at a point where they could lose them all, so that Pinnacle gets all the revenue from their players previously, right? So I don't. Yeah, I think it's ugly. And the thing is this conversation came up at Bet Bash, and every single person that was associated with them in the past said that's how it is now, and they've changed.
And they've changed. Wow, that's too bad. It sounds like the leadership change and um, you know perhaps just taking some of the mindset that they had and I don't know who it is there. I don't even know who's in charge of Pinnacle anymore, who the CEO is. um Probably should have looked it up ahead of the show here. Somebody will there's probably a commentator that's going to call me out on this. But but whoever it is, it sounds like maybe they were coming from a different part of the industry, and they're still have that old mindset, and not perhaps that of somebody like Paris Smith, or like an Adam Bjorn or a Joe Brennan, and the real right approach to taking when you're running a sharp book.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
So that's really too bad. Well, we'll see what happens. Leadership can change again, and
You could say it's too bad, sure, but honestly, again, we don't care. Like, we
well,
don't care.
what the nice thing about this
I
though is,
just think
Pace.
I think it contradicts everything they said and who
One of
they
the
are.
great things about it for us, I think, is that we now have a sponsor and a partner that really, really aligns with us, jives with us, with SX. I can't think of a better partner for us to have than them. While Pinnacle was great, I absolutely love that we've paired up with SX.
I gotta call you out, Shane. I gotta call you out here.
Okay.
So yeah, well, I got that's like a new thing for me, right? Calling
Oh,
Shane out on.
sure. Yeah.
Right.
Go ahead.
So, uh, I had made mention with SX. So the end of the NFL game, I made my line on the Bears game. I think it was last Monday night.
Remind
And
me. Yeah.
yeah, and
Yeah. You had snatched up
no. I made the line, and it
you
got
made the
bought in.
line.
Yeah, it
Right.
got bought
Was it
immediately.
minus 7.5?
Plus the plus
Plus
side,
7.5. That's what it
made
was.
plus, and the
Yeah.
minus side got snatched up
Right.
because it was the best line out there. But I also gave myself a line better than the books prices.
Okay.
The same situation occurred on Thursday night, and I saw that you had made a bet, and someone snatched your bet up,
Oh, yeah.
and it was listed. Saw S Mercer
You saw
below.
you saw my Mercer. Yeah, for sure.
I saw the odds. I'm like, of course it got snatched up. You made your price too shitty.
Yeah, probably because I wanted to make sure it got snatched up. That
It
was
got snatched up. So just so people can understand the context of this. This bet lost on our stream, but this one was the Packers on Thursday night. Who were they playing against, Shane? They were playing against
the Redskins.
The Commandos.
Or the Commanders. Yes, Commandos.
So it's late in the game, and Jaden Daniels has 4 downs to basically get into range to cover a spread where they would kick a field goal.
Yeah.
And the sports books were offering some fucking insane numbers. I think there was odds in like the plus 200 to plus 300 range. And I know on stream we were licking our chops because we were like, holy fuck, is this ever a great opportunity? Jaden Daniels never got into range and looked horrible on his drive. But anyways, I'm looking at SX and I see S Mercer Maker accepted $100 and you offered 2.0.
It was
books offering 4.0.
Yeah.
So it's like, mean, I know you're not trying to be greedy. I know you're not trying to get. You're
No.
wanting.
It's the timing though. So this is that's a whole different conversation here. So I'm having an issue, and perhaps I'll have to talk to Kay about it because I've actually been going back and forth with her, but or Riley. But what's happened is that I've had some issues where I post the line. Okay, so I posted that much earlier in the game. Um,
Oh,
total
bought up.
total and it got bought up then. And I was trying to take it down. Like say I posted it at halftime. I don't know. I forget now, but I posted it early in the game, and not, much earlier than that end of game scenario. And I was trying to take it down, and I was trying to cancel it, and I was getting this error popping up that was saying like something like time code error, and it was popping up in the right hand part of the screen. I actually recorded it. And was going to reach out to them and say, hey, this keeps happening to me because it's not the first time it's happened. And
And
so it
called out for it.
What's that?
And now you've been publicly called out for it. So you have receipts.
So I have receipts. Exactly. I have receipts. So you know what? As part of this episode, Chesto will get the video, and he'll show you the video that I have of my constant error that keeps popping up. And so here's the thing that happens with it though. So I go to cancel the bet, and the error pops up, and it happens every time to me. Every time I try to cancel the bet, I get this error pop up. But here's the thing: sometimes the bet does get canceled, and it does get taken down. So it tells me that it isn't, and there's an error, and the bet actually has been removed and is no longer posted. And I have to log out, log back in, and I see that, oh, okay, this time it did work. But then there's times where it doesn't work, and it's like, and so that was a scenario where it didn't work. I think on that same game though, I got the plus 10.5 on the Redskins or on the Commandos. As well. On SX, yeah.
So if you go just to clear this up though, if you go to your portfolio on the link, and I typically use desktop, but you click on portfolio, there's unsettled bets, settled bets, and offered bets.
Yeah.
If there's a glitch there, the offered bet section is where you can see what is offered and not taken at the current time, and you can cancel those bets. And obviously, when you live bet, an offered bet is at risk of something happening on the field, the rink, or the court that could adversely affect you, and that someone else could buy. But I think that's the beauty of SX as a platform, where you can offer some of those lines during commercials, but obviously there's no one that's going to take those lines down for you. You have to do it yourself.
You have to do it yourself, exactly. And so I've had a problem taking them down myself, where I get this error that keeps popping up, and it's literally every time I try to cancel a bet there. So I've got to find out what's going on with that. And reach out to their team over there, which are great. Their team's fantastic.
What a great ad for our sponsors.
Well, you know what though? This is the thing, right? It's like
stale lines, and
you know what? This is the thing though, right? This is why I do love them though, because when I go to them and I bring this issue to them, I know they're going to take care of it right away. They're going to look at it. I'm going to get their attention, and they're going to deal with it, which is great.
Awesome stuff.
Yeah.
Shane, are we doing the Gosu grind today?
It's probably time, eh? We've kind of gone on for a little while here on the book stories. I think we've covered them off. Yeah, let's bring in Gosu and hit the grind. All right, grind time, and Gosu is here to tackle the football week ahead. All things NFL, CFL, college football. Why don't we start with college football?
Yeah, let's do it. A really good week for college for us last week. We went 4-1. Notre Dame blew it late. Otherwise, we would have had a nice clean sweep there. This week, there's a couple ranked matchups we'll talk about. So the first one, Auburn at Oklahoma. I think Oklahoma is laying 6.5 right now. I think I make it closer to a field goal, like 3.5, 4, but I'm not really interested in a side there. I really like the under in that game.
Okay.
Jackson Arnold plays for Auburn. He's their quarterback. He was benched last year at Oklahoma, so he's going back. So I think their defensive staff there is going to have a really easy time shutting him down. And that Auburn defense has looked pretty good. so far this season. And Oklahoma still has some offensive issues, even with John Napier transferring in. So I like the under. You can get under 50 right now as we're recording. I don't expect it to go any higher than that. So I would just grab anything that's 49.5 or higher. 48.5 is probably a cutoff for me. But that should be out there for a few days this week, I would think.
Yeah, it looked like it opened at 48.5 and it's currently 49.5.
Yeah.
So you like the 49.5.
Okay. Yeah, I don't expect 51's the next highest key number. I don't expect it to get up to 51.5. So anything above 48.5, I like the under on there. The next game, Texas Tech at Utah. So these are probably the two co-favorites for the Big 12 right now. Utah laying 3.5 at home. That's about what I make the line. Personally, if I can get Utah -3 flat for -110 or better, I will definitely be taking that. Certainly if it's under 2.5. I think there's a little bit of Texas Tech money when it first opened. That's just a really tough place to play. And so I really like the Utah side of that. Texas Tech's kind of played a bunch of cupcakes so far. And I think this will by far be the best defense that they've faced. So I expect them to slow them down a little bit. So I do like Utah -3 if it gets there.
Yeah, I see -3.5 now. Would you take the 3.5 or do you want the 3 flat?
I would not take 3.5.
Okay.
I'm going to wait and just hope that there's a -3 at -110 that comes at some point. And if I don't get it, I'm not going to bet it.
Okay, so -3 flat or lower, and that's it.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
That game just feels like to me the kind of classic Utah game. They grind it down and it's like 13-10 in the third quarter. And so I think field goal really matters there. And then the other ranked matchup, Illinois at Indiana. Indiana laying 3.5 to 4 right now. You can actually get a +4.5 out there in Illinois. I'm going to take the Illinois side at anything 3.5 or better. I'm in on 4.5 right now. I make this closer to a pick. Indiana, we saw them, everybody they played last year that was a competent, good team. They definitely didn't have an easy time with. They obviously run it up and beat badly anybody that's inferior to them. But I think Illinois is just as good, if not better. So for me, I'd rather fade Indiana in this spot as a favorite laying more than a field goal against a good team.
Little money line splash there, John.
Oh yeah, always a little money line.
Okay, so Illinois +4.5.
Yes, you can get 4.5 right now. Yeah, and like a little bit on the money line. Yep,
love it.
And then two more dogs this week. So Nebraska is hosting Michigan. I actually was betting this line before the season started. I have Nebraska favored by 2.5 in this game. The line is right now Michigan -2.5. So I like the Nebraska side +2.5. I'm going to keep waiting and see if a 3 comes because it looks like some early money is coming in on Michigan. I think Nebraska should be favored, like I said. So I'll definitely be on the Nebraska money line and hoping there's a 3. If there's not a 3, I'll just take the 2.5 or the 1.5, whatever the line is that I get. But definitely would like a 3 there. But I like the Nebraska side in that one.
It's funny, you circled this back in the summer and you've been just watching this game.
Yes, I have +4.5 from July.
Wow.
So luckily I've been on the right. I've been on the right side of some good key number moves. So like I had Tennessee +8.5 last week. I had LSU -6 last week. So I've had some good numbers from back in July. There's another one, hopefully.
Elite.
Yeah, and then the last game I like this week, I try to keep it to 5 a week for us. I like Florida +7.5 on the road at number 4, Miami. I think this is over a touchdown in this spot is a little too many points for a really important in-state rivalry, and I think Billy Napier in Florida is coaching for his job in this game. There's a really good chance that if they don't win, if this game is not close, and if they don't win, that going into the bye he is fired. So if they get blown out here, I would think that it would be pretty likely that he's actually gone. So I think +7.5 on Florida playing for their coach's job, I think is a really good spot here in a rivalry game.
All right. Love it. Okay. Yeah. Big rivalry game there. Moving on. We're going to the NFL.
Going to the NFL. So
right.
I don't really like very many sides this week in the NFL, though there's a lot of good teaser spots. I'm sure Pace will get to that soon. It's a great week for teasers. But as far as most of these games go, I'm going to be playing a lot of unders across the board and a lot of outdoor divisional games. The
Okay.
totals this week were astronomically high, like this insane amount of scoring.
Wasn't it
on
like the
Sunday.
highest scoring week ever or something like that? I saw somebody posting something like that. I think
Well,
it was an average
everyone
of
from
54
week one
points.
was talking all this shit about how like we were wrong about the kickoff. It's like, come on.
Yeah.
You have 1 week of football. Let's let some games actually be played out here.
Yeah. And in week one, like, I mean, there haven't been like good matchups. So the NFL scheduling early on in the season has been pretty poor, honestly, in terms of excitement from the matchups. And it's kind of, again, this week, the same thing. But so I'm going to give you a rundown of some that I like, and I'll tell you the number I've bet so far.
Okay.
So I like the Texans, Jags under 44.5. Key numbers in the NFL, 41, 43, 44, and even a little bit on 45. Those are all really, really common totals. So any of those numbers you can get on your side are the better. So Jags under 44.5. I bet the Packers Browns under 42.5. 42 is not a very common number, so you can actually kind of wait and see if you get 43. I've just already bet it. I kind of add to positions as the week goes on because it's harder to get money in on books that won't limit you early in the week on stuff like this. Packers Browns, I really like that one. Like the Browns defense is really strong. They outgained the Ravens by over 100 yards last week, and I think they just turned it over a couple times, a couple weird massive plays, defensive scores. So that those defenses are really good. And then Colts Titans under 44. I have that one. Falcons Panthers under 44, and Cardinals Niners under 44.5. So a lot of I think just some mucky games, especially in those divisional matchups. Some backup quarterbacks in there. Really nasty stuff. So that's what I'm doing.
You're really like, so we just had a week where everything went over, and you're like, all right, time to go back under.
Yeah. And it's we're recording this on Monday. It's difficult to project weather, but I'm seeing a lot of double-digit winds forecasted kind of across the country, especially in the Midwest and in like the Rust Belt area, like Ohio and stuff. So, once you get winds up in the 12 to 13 mile per hour range, you really start to see trends towards the under, and totals will drop as the week goes on. It's just that time. It's that time of the year, right? When we're heading towards fall, the temperature's dropping and the air is getting thinner and the wind is picking up. So, a lot of these 44.5 and over numbers in these outdoor divisional games, I think is just, we talked about it in week one. There were totals in like 48.5 in anticipation of this new kickoff in these divisional games. And some of these games went under by like 15 points. So that's what I'm looking at this week.
I got to ask you then on that note, because the Thursday night game, Miami at Buffalo, as outdoor as it gets. And the total is sitting at 49.5.
I know. I will probably bet the under in that game, but I have a respect for our listeners that I don't want to give out Dolphins plus 13 and the under 48.5 or 49.5, because he gave out Browns plus 13.5 last week and they were covering for until whatever happened in that fourth quarter in that game. So we won't go back to the well with that level of nastiness this week, but I definitely do like the under in that game. Though the weather is projected to be 67 and 4 mile per hour winds. So beautiful weather. And the Bills tend
Buffalo
to beat up on bad teams. So I do think 13 is too many, but that Miami team, if they lose that game by 20, I think McDaniel's probably getting fired. So
wow, smart coach getting the boot.
Yeah.
I want to mention a couple things here that kind of came in over the last little bit here. As we're recording this on Monday, some news. It looks like my guy, JJ McCarthy, is going to be out next week. He's likely to miss next week. That just came across. And just before we started recording the podcast, Jaden Daniels is up in the air for the game against the Packers. Seems, what was I forget the wording that they used there, whether it was doubtful or unlikely to play or whatever it was, but it looks like he's dealing with an issue as well.
Gotcha. I think they play the Raiders next week.
Who did I say? The Packers?
Oh,
Or
no.
they just played the Packers? Yeah, they play the Raiders. You're right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So he might miss that game, and we haven't seen the Raiders yet this week. They play divisional rival the Chargers tonight, since we're recording this on a Monday. So we'll see what the Raiders look like. They came out, they beat the Patriots week 1. I mean, if they can get an upset dub over their division rival Chargers, I mean, that Raiders team might be a big surprise team early here in the season.
Yeah. I mean, I do. Well, we haven't seen that game yet, but I do kind of like the Raiders side in that one. So we'll see how I look after that when people listen to the podcast.
There we go. All right. Anything for CFL?
Oh yeah, of course. BC getting plus 4.5 at Calgary. I like BC. I like backing BC when they're dogs because I think the upside with them is very high. It's just there's a high volatility with Rourke, right, in the way he plays. So I do like the BC plus 4.5 side there, though there's probably a good chance they go down early. You can just get a bigger number live. I'm on that one. And then I also bet Edmonton plus 5.5 against Hamilton. So I think that's too many points. I make both of those games I have under a field goal for those teams. So I think getting those extra points is a lot of value. And then I really want to bet Ottawa again. You can get their money line at minus 110 right now against Streveler. I'm assuming it's Streveler again. But I don't know that I will. So I'll probably just stick with the 2 dogs this week.
All right. So that one's off the list there.
Yeah.
All right. There we go. 2 dogs is enough in the CFL per week. I think that's great. All right. Cool. Pace, are we doing a teaser?
Yeah. Got our first dub last week.
Bang, bang.
Which was really nice. I think we got to do a teaser this week. I'm a little on the fence here just with the JJ McCarthy news. I think Carson Wentz can maybe be as good and maybe better, but I feel like at the same time I've said that about Wentz a bunch because I just am stuck in 2017.
Yeah.
So it's really, really tricky. So I think but what I was looking at there was the Bengals plus, but I think I'll just, I'll stay away from that one.
That's a really weird game now with no Burrow and now no McCarthy. It's, both are playing backup quarterbacks.
The Bengals have a real shot to be 3-0 without Joe Burrow, the team that can never get going. It's just crazy shit, right? But yeah, there are a lot of good teaser spots on paper, but I tend to try to find ways not to bet it. Denver really disappointed me this past week. So like their plus makes sense, and I'm not going to do it over there. I really hate road favorites for teasers. So like the Packers is kind of like an auto green light there, getting it down to 2.5. But I don't know. That one's tricky for me as well. Man, did they look good though. But yeah, the surefire one that I love the most is Dallas plus 7.5. I think Chicago's absolute dog shit. So that's my favorite one. Cowboys last week and this week. So tease the Cowboys up to 7.5. And the road favorites are what's getting me. So between Seattle, who is at home, Kansas City, and Green Bay, I think I like all 3. But I do just want to go with 2 picks here. So do I trust Seattle at home against New Orleans more than I trust Green Bay on the road against Cleveland? And I need maybe John's opinion on which one of those he likes better to lock in the official spot here.
Wait, what were the 2 choices again?
Seattle at home teased down to 1.5, or the Packers on the road teased down to 2.5.
Yeah.
I like Seattle. I have them in a teaser already.
Yeah. So the official teaser this week. The official teaser this week is going to be Seattle under 2.5 and Dallas over 7.5.
All right. So Seattle, Dallas, and that's it. Just the 2.
Yeah, and that's what I was going to say originally, but then those 2 road favorites are really staring me in the face, and I can't let them go.
Hey, you know what? You went with 2 last week, and you came out a winner. So maybe we just stick it with 2.
Yeah, absolutely.
The Niners. Too bad the Niners flipped to a favorite because they opened as a 1.5 point dog.
That would have been so good. Yeah, that would have been so good. Yep.
All right, guys. Well, there you have it. Another week of the grind, and we'll see how we do. Until then, though, John, Pace, sports bettors tuning in around the world, keep eating those books.
Thanks for tuning in to another episode of Behind the Lines. Remember to like, download, and subscribe. We are on YouTube, Apple, Spotify, and everywhere you get your podcasts. Have a betting story or want to be featured on our podcast? Drop a note in the comments below. And if you want to join in play live, use promo code Behind the Line.